Hey, so I like the question of how much further behind is the rest of the province compared to Regina in having seen these same maybe increases in variant numbers. So here we have all of the variants that were reported by day, cumulative number, and you can see Regina compared to everywhere else, Regina is huge, right? Thing to note on this graph is that we didn't have any in-province testing or release of testing numbers until March 9th. So we really don't know what was happening for variants before that because we were looking at 2 or 3 week lag times between taking a test and sending it off to Winnipeg and getting those results back. So we really missed the sort of early warning signs of variants. Second thing is this is a non-exponential or non-logarithmic scale, and it totally blows out Regina's numbers from everywhere else. We know that the virus transmits and increases in number exponentially, so the best thing for us to do is to take this and put it on a logarithmic scale or an exponential scale. So here you can see 1 case, 2 case, 4 cases, 8 cases. Every line is twice as many cases, right? And when we do that, Regina is suddenly sort of collapsed down in its number, or we can sort of see it in comparison to the others. And we can say that that's still that March 9th right there. So we don't know what happened previous to this, but it makes sense that if we see this sort of linear progression of on a logarithmic scale, Regina's case numbers, probably it had the same sort of trend earlier, right? And we can imagine that for some of these other places as well, maybe we also missed some of the sort of early signs, the first couple cases, because they just weren't detected when we were sampling them, and we weren't testing every case to see if it contained variants. But overall, if you look at the sort of slope of this graph here, and the slope of this one, and the slope of this one, and this one here, they're somewhat similar, right? It looks like the virus is continuing to transmit and increase at the same rate, even though one might have 100 cases and the other only 5 cases, they both might be doubling in the same number of days, right? So what we can sort of assume is that South Central and Southeast here definitely are on the same path as Regina. They have a high number compared to their population. They're really getting spillover from Regina. That's where all those variants are coming from. Saskatoon right here is probably equivalent to where Regina was maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. 2 or 3 weeks ago, Regina had no expansion of household bubbles. They also had different weather and like seasonal changes, maybe that will reduce our overall transmissions because people are spending more time outside. But also the fact that Saskatoon has relaxed their bubbles might increase their rate of developing more and more of these variant cases. We really don't know. But a good sort of look at these graphs might tell us that, maybe from 2 weeks to 4 weeks from now, Saskatoon might be in a very similar place right now to what Regina is exhibiting, where we're continuing to see the highest case rates. We're up above 25 cases per 100,000 per day for Regina. Right now, Saskatoon is 1/5 that, 20% of the overall case incidence, the rate of accumulating cases. And we haven't seen that start to tick up or trend up yet. Once we see Saskatoon's case rate, instead of going down, start to plateau, that's going to be a fairly good indicator that the number of new variant cases that we're starting to accumulate is going as fast as the number of regular COVID cases are going down. And we're going to see a bit of a plateau for a little while, probably like what we saw with Regina, and then suddenly the numbers might take off again. So if nothing changes, possibly within a couple weeks to a month, we might see Saskatoon in the same situation.